Hi everyone, so just a very quick little video to talk a little bit about materials for geometry. The basic essentials I think that are necessary or very useful to draw and practice geometry. So let's show you. So the question of materials is probably the one that I get asked the most, like what compass to get, what to start with, what type of paper do I use, that sort of thing. So I'm just going to do a very brief run through the basics that are useful for geometry and that you might want to get to start practicing. So first of all, paper. You can get any sort of random photocopy paper. However, I think having a thicker type of paper is good, just something that your compass point is not going to sort of destroy too quickly, and that the hole you make for the drawing circles don't get used up too fast, and it holds that compass point a bit better. So I really like this sort of paint-on collection sort of paper. This one is in white, recycled. You can get it colored as well. They're good multi-technique, multi-mixed media sort of paper. And what I really like about them is that they don't, pens don't bleed. I'm going to talk about felt tip pens as well. So yeah, I really like this paper. It's a little bit thick, not too much, but enough to actually, hold your compass point well. And ink of the felt tips, Fineliners, doesn't bleed. It's very smooth, so your lines are quite neat. You can also get in textured. Do get the smooth one, I think, for just basic geometry drawing. I think it's better. And because it's quite thick as well and mixed media, you could also use ink or paint or felt tips on it, and it will hold up pretty well. So that's for paper. Obviously, when I do like a painting, I use watercolor paper or that sort of things, but for actual just drawing, this is really good. Also, a different paper, I'm just going to mention this. This is a card that's fixed on my desk. So it's just like a random gray card that you get in any art store or hardware or something. It's like a thin, cheap card, and it has two purposes. The first one is that you're not stabbing your desk and you're not punching holes in your desk, whether it's wooden or anything. So it's protecting your surface, and also it prevents your paper from sliding. So if the surface of your desk is sort of very smooth and sleek or glossy, I don't know how to say, hard and glossy, then your compass point, when you put it in the paper, is not going to have anything to sort of press into, and it's just going to glide, and that will damage your paper faster and will be just really annoying. So I just put this piece of card way larger than the drawing I'm working on, so I can just turn my paper around. And I also never tape the paper I'm working on to my desk, because otherwise you might just move your compass against the paper and damage the paper further and create bigger holes that you don't want to. So I'd rather not attach the paper to the surface, but have something that's not slippery and that can take my compass point well, and protecting my desk. So that's for paper and the surface. Now for the compass. So like the star of the show here, the basic yet not so basic compass I usually recommend to begin with, which is not the cheapest, but is not too much of an investment yet. This one. So that's a Staedetler compass, and I will write it down in the description below. But it's the 552 Mars Comfort series, and when you get the 552, so the 552. This is this specific compass. However, the number on the box doesn't determine what's in the box. So you could get a box with only the compass, which would look like this. This little piece of tape here, because people keep on asking me, is just it's just because I have loads of those compass, because I lend them in classes, and just to know which ones are mine and which ones are the students. Anyways. However, you could get a box with more tools in it. The essential tool is definitely this, which is pen attachment. I'm going to demonstrate in a second. And you could also get a box with an extension. So I'm also going to come back to this extension thing, but the most basic thing you need is this. Then you could either get the extension or get a beam compass. So let me get into this. So the pen attachment, why do you need a pen attachment? Because this is the lead that comes with your compass. And so first of all, you could definitely change the lead to something a bit harder. You can get leads, if you're familiar with the lead types, you can get an HB at the smoothest, and you can also get like an H or 2H. People go even to 4H, although at that stage I feel it's just sort of almost cutting your paper, and it's really hard, and it's not the lines are not very dark, they're very, very pale and very hard. So I prefer using like an HB or an H, but not harder than this. But if you use a harder lead, the advantage is that it's going to stay sharp longer. And to sharpen this type of lead, what you want to do is get a piece of sandpaper, very fine sandpaper, like 800 grit or something, and then hold your compass very flat on the surface, and then go very straight on. Sorry, my camera is trying to adjust to all this. And so you have your sandpaper flat on the table, and then hold your compass really flat on it, the beveled edge flat on the sandpaper, and then you'd go back and forth like this, really straight, keeping the same angle, and that would get your lead sharp again. So that's how you sharpen a compass, and it's very important to keep your lead sharp if you want clean lines. That makes your life easier. That being said, I personally never actually use this part, because I much prefer personally taking this part out and using this pen attachment instead. And then I use mechanical pencils, and I use 0.3 lead, so that's a 0.3 millimeter lead. It's very fine, it breaks very easily, but you get a nice line that's quite thin and very consistent, very regular. As to here, it would change quite a bit as you draw. So, and then I put this inside my compass, making sure that I push it so that the lead is roughly at the same level as the point, and then I tighten my compass, and then I can use this. The only disadvantage to this is that the pencil has this angle, which makes it a bit less comfortable to draw small circles, but anyway, small circles are hard, and you'd probably want to get a smaller compass eventually if you like drawing small. But you can really do a lot of small circles with this. I personally never use like a smaller compass, I just use this most of the time. So that's for the mechanical pencil, and I have two, because I have one in the compass and I have one in my hand to draw the lines with. Okay, then coming with all this leads and mechanical pencil, an eraser is very useful, obviously, and these ones are really good. So there are other brands, I'm sure. This one is a Mono Zero Tombow, and it's just the shape of this eraser is really good, because you can I just help the camera focus, so you can see that it's quite sharp, like you can get quite a neat small eraser shape, and so you can get into little detail and erase just a little part of your line if you need to correct something. Now the next essential thing is a ruler. I just personally, any ruler will do, definitely, but I just love these. This is a Graphoplex ruler, and you get the precise reference here. So that's a Graphoplex ruler. What I love about this ruler is that it's clear. I'm not a big fan of plastic in general, but just really for geometry clear ruler is really useful. It's easier to line up things. The edge is nicer to work against compared to a metal ruler, in my personal opinion. Also here you have this grid on the plastic, which helps you align your lines when you know your line should be parallel to another one, and you're lining things up and you see through the grid that it's not quite parallel to the line it should be, then you can adjust your alignment a little bit using the grid, so that's really good. And you have this anti-slippery rubber thing at the back, so your ruler doesn't slide. Just make sure to clean them, because sometimes they get the lead dust on them and then it messes with your drawing. And little bonus thing at the back, it has a metal strip, so you could use it to cut stuff with a knife, cutting knife, so that can be very useful. And as we're going into details, I just also love that it has a clean edge that you could, put your ruler against. That's exactly 5 millimeters away from the 0 here. So I find that quite handy. So these are my favorite ruler. This is a 30 centimeter one. I also have a 50 centimeter one and a meter long one. So, but yeah, I would just not recommend the rulers that are triangular shape. I don't know how to explain this sort of, it's harder to line up precisely your, what you want to trace. So, next thing after the pencils and everything is the fine liners. So I tend to use color a lot when I draw, just to differentiate different steps of my drawing. So these are called fineliners. The tip looks like, sorry. The tips looks like this, and so it's sort of a felt tip. And this one is 0.4, so it's quite small. This is the Stabilo brand. You also get Staedetler does some as well, similar sort of fine liners. Sorry, trying to adjust these, and these are like sort of equivalent quality. I just tend to prefer these to these, but really they're just the same type of pens and the same quality, and they tend to bleed on some papers, so that's why I like this paper, because they don't bleed on this paper. If you, for example, hold your pen like a long time on the paper, is not going to create a massive stain where the paper has drunk the ink. Here's just going to stay one dot, so if you sort of hold your pen in place while you're thinking where you're going or things, it's not going to mess up your drawing. Now, if you use tracing paper, which is the other thing that can be useful when drawing geometry, which I don't have right here because I just don't have a tracing paper pad with me currently. And when you draw on tracing paper, if you use ink on the tracing paper, these tend to bleed quite a bit. So on tracing paper, I like to use these. They're Staedetler as well, so same brand as these. All of these ones are pigment liners. They are waterproof on paper, light fast, store horizontally, blah, blah, blah. So they're just, because they are waterproof, they don't bleed so much on the tracing paper. They need a little bit of time to dry, but less than these, and it's less messy. You also can get the Sakura ones from the other way around, the micron pens from the Sakura brand, which I don't have on hand, I think, but are some of my favorite felt tips to draw geometry as well. So there's a whole range here. So that's if you're using color. Right, so after this topic of color, the compass, the eraser, etc., the only question left is what do you use to draw a large circle, especially if you're interested in rose window geometry, for example. I tend to really insist on drawing a large scale, because then you start very big, but then details get very small, so you do need like something good to draw large, and this will only get you so far. First tip, you this can get you a long way and do a lot of things, because if you have the pen attachment here, you can unscrew a little bit and then push actually your pen or mechanical pencil further down the compass like this, and now you get a much wider range that you would if your pencil was just here. So that's one trick. If you don't have any extension or no larger compass, this will get you like a bigger opening of your compass. It will get you a bit bigger than a 20 centimeter radius, so that actually would work for the large rose windows. However, when you do this end is a lot less stable, and when you sort of press on your compass to get your pen or lead to actually inscribe properly your paper, when you press, you're slightly when you press down, you're slightly changing the radius on the compass, and that's really not good when you're drawing geometry. So it's not that precise and not as comfortable to use, but it's a trick that can work if you don't have anything else. So this. Now the next option would be to get a set of this compass, so the Staedetler Mars 552, and get the box with the pen attachment and also with the extension. So the extension works like this. You untighten the screw here, get this out, put the extension instead, tighten the screw, and then you can slide this part here along. And I think when you get this, this is turned the other way around, just because that's the way you want it for the lead. That's how the lead would fit in here. But then if you want to put the pen attachment, you can. You just have to unscrew this and then turn it around. So that's for this brand of compass and this specific compass. Some other extensions or things, you can't actually put a pen attachment because the thing won't fit the right way. Like if you fit the pen attachment this way, you actually cannot put the pen because you have this in the way. So this is why this one is clever, because you can turn it around. So once you've turned it around, you can have your pen attachment like this, and then you can also obviously use this to move quickly, but then you can always keep on using the little wheel here in the middle of the compass that will give you a more precise fitting, right? And then you can put anything you want here. However, this is not my favorite option because, again, when you're really drawing large, this is not so stable. You have a similar problem. If you press a bit too hard, then it's going to move a little bit at this end. And you have to really hold your compass and your attachment, everything in the same way with the same pressure as you go around. So it's quite a delicate process to draw a neat large circle with this. But it's doable and it can work pretty well. So that's one option. And then the last option for a large circle is this. So this is called a beam compass, and it has those two parts. And usually, like, I don't have it here because I use something else in there, but you'd have not this one because it's too big. Unfortunately, this is not universal. Depends on the compass and the brand anyway. So this one doesn't fit in here, but there's one that came with the compass. With a lead that would go in here, and then you can, there's a little wheel at the top and you can slide it around and you have a point here. You can even use a ruler, but it's not like essential, and then you can slide this along and then you can get a very large opening. And the good thing with this is that it's very stable. It's a lot more comfortable to draw large circle with this. Since I've discovered beam compasses, I'm totally sold. I love them. This one is an Ecobra brand. I'll write it down in the description as well. It's a decent price because when you start looking beam compasses online, you can get like very beautiful metal ones that are like $1,000 pounds or euros or whatever. That's just very expensive. This one I think is like, was 35 euros something here in France. So it's, you know, not too much of an investment, a little bit, but not too much. And so, like I said, it comes with a pot looking like this with a LED and also some cool little adds-on like this. So I'm just gonna show you quickly this, which is actually a blade, so you could use it to cut paper, and also these small cute thing, which I spent quite some time figuring out what it was, and then what I understood was that you place this, there's a little sort of cross on it, so you place this on where you want to point your compass, and the little rubber band underneath prevents it from sliding around, and then you can put your compass point in here, and so your compass is not going to pierce your paper, it's going to sort of stay in here and it's not sliding around. So it comes with this compass. I don't know if you can buy it individually, but it's pretty good, and obviously you've got some extra LEDs as usual. So that's for this beam compass. And I'm just now realizing that I haven't actually explained why this compass is good and why I recommend it. So what I really like about this compass in terms of the, you know, quality compared to the price is that you get this quick release system. So the way it works is that you press on the two little thing here at the same time, not just one. You're going to break your compass, so just the two at the same time, and then you can move it to like a quick approximate measure, and then once it's at the measure you want roughly, you can adjust it finely with the wheel in between. So this system is a good sign that it's a good compass, but it's not the only one. It needs to be of good quality, otherwise it will become loose here. Like these I've been using for years and it's not getting loose. So, you know, some of them, if it can get a bit beat up, but this one is pretty good and holds up pretty well. So, and it's very stable. When you get any compass of any brand, where you want to sort of take it like this and see if this is solid, and if it's not, then it's going to sort of move and be weak, and you don't want that. You don't want this to loosen. You want this to be very straight. Otherwise, I've seen some compasses that you adjust them and you start using them and then it moves, and that's just horrible. Like you feel like you're not successful in drawing your geometry, but it's not. It's actually not you. It's actually the compass. So that can be really annoying. So that's why I like this. Obviously you can get an even better quality from Staedetler. I think it's the Mars 555, I think. Don't quote me on this, but I think it's like more metal parts, less plastic, and it's just a slightly better quality. The only downside of this compass, I can go on this forever, but I'm gonna stop after this, is the point here. I don't really like those points. I think they're too thick and it's harder. Your compass sort of jumps around a bit more, and that's not so good. I much prefer points that are like this one, and unfortunately it seems to be near impossible to just buy a point on its own, and that's a shame because sometimes your point is going to fall on the floor and be damaged and you might want to change it, and I've not yet found anywhere where you can just buy a point, any point. So if you have a tip for this, let me know in the comments. Yeah, so these are my favorite type of points. See the shape it has? It's very pointy but quite stable because of its shape, and it's damaging your paper less, and it stays in place better than these other ones. So what you can do sometimes is get this compass and get a cheap like secondhand compass somewhere that has a point like this on the same diameter, see if it fits in this one. So sometimes from older compasses that are not so good, they do have a good point, and I sometimes just switch the points on these compass. So that's the only thing I would say. I know that Rotring used to have a very good compass as well, similar sort of price range and quality, and it was the Centro, so CENTRO, sort of, I don't know how you say it, so, but the sort of series within the brand. But they seem to be unavailable when I look for them online, so I'm not going to show them to you, but some of them used to have this point, so that's another thing you can go about. And I think that's it. That's really all you need for geometry. I hope that was useful, and I will make other videos. I will do more videos more in detail about other tools at some point. If you have questions about materials, drop them in the comment below, and I'll try to make more videos later to address them. Yeah, hope this was useful, and looking forward to see your drawings.